The purpose of this video is to help you learn how to better contact your legislators in a way that will have impact on their decisions. And we're going to sit down today and just focus on the critical things that you need to be doing when you're in that process of trying to connect with your legislator in a meaningful way. So what we're going to do is we're going to change vistas here for just a second, and I'm going to come back and show you on the computer how that's going to look. Welcome back, guys. Let me talk to you a little bit about the way that we work this, the way that we work the system. First thing I want to show you is this site right here, house.texas.gov. That's how I got to this space, how I got to this site. Now, if you're going to do the Senate, it would be senate.texas.gov. So that's how I got here. So if you're working on it, some sort of contact, some sort of legislation you want to be heard about, then you go there. All right, let me go into the members, and I'm going to use our local member, Mrs. Wilson, and show you the process of how to make contact in the best possible way. So you've got a lot of stuff here, and it can look a little intimidating, but it really isn't. You just have to know kind of how to break it down, so that's what I'm going to do. On this part, this first section, we have an email attachment, which I'll come back to in a second. Then underneath that, we have her capital address where you would contact her during the session. And if it's not during the session, you would contact her at her district address, which is right here, 305 21st Street, Suite 241. And there's a phone number there. Now, probably in either case, if you're going to the legislature or you're going to her office, you're probably going to have to work through a scheduler who's going to take your phone call, get back with her, and set up the time. So be patient and kind of work through that. All right. Then here we have the bills that she sponsored and co-sponsored, the committees that she serves on. Then we have the district analysis of what the district looks like in terms of population, in terms of school districts, in terms of just, those kinds of demographic bits of information. There's a map, and the map's important because it will kind of show where that district is, and that will give you some clues about what they may or may not be concerned about, because if they're more rural, if they're more urban, that might be an issue. So let's go back over here to the left and look at the email button. And let me show you how to do that, because it's kind of the easiest one. Basically, since I've emailed her a number of times, my information is already in here, so I just have to click on it. But there's a certain list of required things. They're the ones with the red star. And you'll go through, just like I am here, contacting them or filling the form out, okay? Then you'll get down to the actual message you want to send here in a second. And you don't have to give them any more information than you want to give them on this, by the way, except for these things that are required. But everything that she's asking for, or they're asking for here, are things that are public knowledge. So it's not like it's a mystery. Then you got a subject, okay? And I'm just going to use vouchers because I'm interested in that one. Okay, so I just put vouchers in. Then I'm going to give my message. Now I'm going to stop here and talk a little bit about how that should be. I always suggest you have 2 or 3 really powerful ideas documented, if you can, with sources and all that kind of thing right here. I think that really can be helpful in terms of presenting your idea. And this is important. It's important that you write it in your own words. Quote your evidence, but then tell your story. Why is it you feel this way? What makes this so important to you? And I think that'll be a better way of reaching folks if you do that. So the objective here, of course, is to communicate your concerns to the legislator in question, in this case, Mrs. Wilson. Okay, if you want to call, then again, depending on when it is, if it's in session, I'd call at the capital address. If it's not in session, I'd call at her district address. And if you want to have a conversation with her, you want to come by and visit her and talk to her directly, then that's a good way to do that. Okay, so let's think about committees. And basically, if you're concerned about a particular issue, it's going to be under a particular committee. So here we go. This is the Education Committee, and so you can contact them doing exactly the same thing as you did before, except now you can contact this group that's going to look at a particular issue, say like the voucher thing that I mentioned before, and that's going to be how they do that. And so you're going to be able to contact them directly, and that's going to be more effective. So if I just used the House of Representatives because that was the closest one, but if you did the Senate, it would be exactly the same. So let me just put a cap on it right there, and we'll come back and talk about how you actually go about doing that in our third segment. Fellow Texans, the importance of what we've learned previously in the workshop is really quite simple. If we want our voices heard, we need to raise our voice. We need to speak up and let our legislators know that, hey, we really love that idea, or no, we think that's a really terrible idea and you shouldn't do it. And this workshop that we're going to host on October the 2nd from 6 to 7 p.m. at Shrimp and Stuff downtown. Don't forget that, downtown, because there are two of them. And make sure you show up, and we're going to actually do that for an hour. And I'm going to train you to be able to pass this along to other Democrats, other Texans that need to make their voices heard. And this is the only way we can do that, is to learn how to communicate more effectively in this particular environment.